Washington, D.C. woke up uneasy. The city's usual buzz was replaced by anxious whispers and breaking news alerts. Phones lit up. Bipartisan lawmakers demand Trump resign. Leaked memo at center of firestorm. The January air felt electric, as if the city was bracing for an earthquake. Crowds gathered, faces tense, eyes glued to their screens. What was in the memo? Why were political enemies suddenly united? Police quietly increased their presence around federal buildings, a silent warning that things could spiral. The White House was locked down, press briefings canceled, the administration silent. Newsrooms were chaos, phones ringing, reporters scrambling for any scrap of information. No one had the full picture, but everyone knew something historic was unfolding. 47 lawmakers, Republicans and Democrats, were about to call for the president's resignation. This wasn't just another scandal, it was a national crisis, and the suspense was suffocating. The usual political lines had vanished. The city and the country waited for the truth to break. Washington, D.C., built on secrets, was about to have its biggest one exposed. By day's end, America's political landscape would be changed forever. The only certainty, nothing would ever be the same. The world was watching, breath held. On the Capitol steps, 47 lawmakers stood united, not as partisans, but as Americans. Conservative stalwarts and progressive firebrands side by side, their usual differences erased by the gravity of the moment. Leading them, a senior Republican senator, once a staunch Trump ally, and a top Democratic congresswoman, one of his fiercest critics. Their message was clear. This was not politics as usual. The senator spoke first, voice heavy. "We do not come to this decision lightly. We have seen evidence we cannot ignore." The congresswoman followed. "This is not about policy or elections. It's about our duty to protect the Constitution and those who serve." None of them looked triumphant. They looked burdened, forced to choose between party and country. And choosing country. Their unity was shocking, a sign that the memo's contents were devastating enough to bridge the deepest divides. These lawmakers risked their careers, defying party leaders and voters alike. But their resolve was unshakable. The truth mattered more than politics. In an era of division, their alliance was almost unthinkable. Whatever was in that memo, it had to be catastrophic. The nation watched, stunned, as the old rules of Washington fell away. This was a moment of reckoning. The stakes had never been higher. The world waited for answers. The press conference set off a media firestorm. Newsrooms scrambled, anchors speculated, and reporters chased every possible lead. Social media erupted. #Trump memo, #the 47, #resign. Now trended worldwide. The central question: what's in the memo? The White House's silence only fueled the frenzy. Journalists found doors closed, sources tight-lipped, and speculation running wild. The presence of Intelligence and Armed Services Committee members hinted at a national security crisis. The stakes were enormous. One wrong report could spark panic. Veteran journalists urged caution, but facts were scarce. All anyone had were the grave faces of 47 lawmakers and a secret tearing Washington apart. The truth was out there, but hidden behind a wall of silence. The city was gripped by fear and anticipation. The nation waited for the next shoe to drop. The memo became the story's shadowy protagonist, a political ghost haunting the Capitol. No one outside a select few had seen it, but its existence shook the government to its core. The suspense was unbearable. The memo was dubbed the Damocles Memo, a sword hanging over the presidency. Lawmakers who'd read it refused to leak details, their silence a sign of the memo's explosive contents. Rumors swirled. A national security crisis, a decision about American troops, a president's motives questioned. The whispers suggested the president's choice was driven by politics, not the safety of soldiers. The idea that lives were risked for political gain was deeply shocking. This wasn't just another scandal. It was a betrayal of the commander-in-chief's most sacred trust. The public's faith in government wavered. If true, the memo would not just end a presidency, it would scar the nation. The secret was more than political. It was personal, and it was devastating. The countdown to revelation had begun. As the day wore on, the rumors solidified into a chilling narrative. Intelligence and Pentagon sources confirmed a grave military threat had required immediate action. Military leaders presented a plan to protect American troops. Time was critical. The president allegedly delayed, worried about the political fallout before a key event. He waited, gambling with soldiers' lives for political advantage. The story exploded across every news outlet. The grim faces of the 47 lawmakers now made sense. This wasn't about policy. It was about the lives of those in uniform. Even the president's staunchest supporters struggled to defend the allegations. Military families and veterans felt the betrayal most deeply. The idea that trust in the chain of command had been broken was devastating. The whispers became a roar. The nation demanded the truth. The line between rumor and reality was blurring. America was on edge, waiting for confirmation. The power of the 47 came from their diversity and their shared sense of duty. This was not a partisan attack. It was a moral stand. Even the president's longtime defenders joined, giving the demand unprecedented weight. They spoke of their oath to the Constitution, not to any party or president. "We have a duty that rises above all else," one veteran Republican declared. Their unity sent shock waves through the political establishment. Party leaders scrambled, but the 47 had created a new center of gravity. Their demand was simple. The president had violated his most fundamental duty. Such a breach, they argued, was unforgivable. They called for resignation, not impeachment, a direct appeal to conscience. It was a solemn, extraordinary demand. The system's checks and balances, though strained, were not broken. History would remember this moral stand. An emergency joint session of Congress convened. The chamber was packed, the mood somber. Lawmakers sat interspersed, a visual sign of unity. The senior senator stepped forward, holding the memo. He announced that, due to the extraordinary threat, key excerpts would be read into the record. The chamber fell silent. The senator read, "A credible threat against a U.S. base, military leaders urging immediate action." The president's response, concern for political optics, a suggestion to wait. The senator paused. Audible gasps swept the room. Then, the final blow, a report detailing the attack that followed the delay. 3 American soldiers dead, 7 wounded. The memo concluded the tragedy could have been prevented. The senator closed the folder. Silence reigned, broken only by quiet weeping. The rumors were true, and the reality was worse than anyone imagined. The secret was out. The chamber and the nation were left in shock. The words hung in the air, an indictment more powerful than any speech. The political earthquake had struck. America would never be the same. The nation gasped as the memo's contents were revealed. Protests formed outside the White House and Capitol. Quiet, mournful, more vigil than rally. America grieved for the fallen soldiers and for lost trust in its highest office. Congressional leaders issued a blunt statement. A catastrophic failure of leadership and dereliction of duty. The president had lost the support of his own party. Across the country, people struggled to process the betrayal. A veteran summed it up, "We trust our leaders to protect our kids." That trust was broken. The bipartisan condemnation was total. The 47 were now seen as prophets, not rebels. The truth had stripped away all partisan defenses. The nation was united in shock, sorrow, and a demand for accountability. This was not just another scandal, it was a turning point. America stood at a crossroads, forever changed. As night fell, the nation stood on the edge of the unknown. The president was silent, isolated, his position untenable. The question was no longer if he would leave, but how and when. Impeachment proceedings began, a special counsel was appointed, and criminal charges loomed. America entered uncharted territory, a crisis with no precedent. The day's bipartisan unity offered hope, but deep divisions threatened to return. The coming days would test the nation's resilience and its institutions. The shock had given way to anxious quiet. The world watched as America faced a defining moment. The path forward was uncertain, but the stakes could not be higher. The nation held its breath, waiting for what would come next.